Hello students, today we will discuss the second part of our chapter End of Bipolarity. So in our previous class we have discussed about the rise of Soviet Union, how we retained the status of a superpower, its merits and also its demerits. So at the end of our first part we saw that Soviet Union was suffering from certain demerits. There was a lot of autocratic pressure, people were not given the freedom of speech, expression, etc. So today we will see the role of Mikhail Gorbachev in the disintegration process. So it is said that Mikhail Gorbachev had a great role, or his role was very important for the disintegration of Soviet Union. So we all know the Soviet Union had disintegrated in the year 1991. So there were several reasons, and one of the reasons was Mikhail Gorbachev. So Mikhail Gorbachev became the General Secretary of the Communist Party in the year 1985. And in the year 1988 he became the President of USSR. And when Mikhail Gorbachev came to power, he witnessed that Soviet Union was suffering from certain weaknesses or certain problems. Like as I have written here, it was suffering from stagnation of the economy. There was acute crisis of basic necessities, bureaucratic pressure, technological backwardness. So stagnation of the economy, the otherwise the self-sufficient economy, or you remember Soviet Union used to supply all kinds of basic necessities to its people. There was no unemployment, but now there was acute crisis of the basic necessities. The reason behind this was that the arms race that the Soviet Union was engaged in. So much of the resources was diverted towards the arms race that it was keeping in with USA. So the other sectors were lagging behind. Then there was a lot of bureaucratic pressure. People did not enjoy any kind of expression or freedom of speech. They were only made to follow orders. And also with the technological evolution, you will find that the people of Soviet citizens, they realized that they were very much technologically behind the Western countries. The life in the Western countries were very much liberal, they were very much forward, but Soviet society, they were still in a backward era, you can say. So this was another weakness that Soviet Union was suffering from. So Mikhail Gorbachev wanted to keep the USSR abreast of the information and the technological revolutions taking place in the West. He wanted to reform the Soviet economy and loosen the administrative system. He wanted to improve and normalize relations with the West. So when Mikhail Gorbachev came to power, he realized that the people of Soviet Union were very much dissatisfied with the rule of Soviet leadership or Soviet Union. So he wanted to bring about certain reforms. So for this he introduced certain reform policies. He gave freedom to the people, freedom of speech, expression. So he tried to bring these through two of his very famous policies. One was called glasnost, that it means openness, that is citizens were given the right to get full and correct information about the state matters. And second one was called perestroika. So here it should have been two, but I have written one. So perestroika, which means restructuring. It means all matters should be resolved by the representatives of the people. So through glasnost, the people were given the right to get full and correct information. That is, so this Mikhail Gorbachev, he wanted to give the Soviet citizens greater freedom of expression and also criticism. You know that for the last 70 years the people did not have any kind of freedom of speech, expression. They were the books or anything, if it was written against the Soviet leadership or Soviet government, all those were banned. But now Gorbachev, he wanted to get rid of the policy of censoring books, newspapers, plays, films, which had lasted for over 70 years. Gorbachev also announced that henceforth the work of the Communist Party would be carried on with more transparency. And by perestroika he wanted to lay more emphasis on political, economic and administrative reforms. Encouragement was given to competition between industrial organizations and commercial units. So through these reform policies, he wanted to bring about a change in the Soviet system. But you will see that Mikhail Gorbachev's reform policies had failed and it faced protest. Okay, so his reforms policies failed, and why did it fail? Because Mikhail Gorbachev received support neither from the citizens of Soviet Union nor from his own party. Okay, the people in the East European countries, they protested. Leaders within the Communist Party also protested. So the people now, since they had enjoyed some sort of they were enjoying some sort of freedom given by Gorbachev, they read the books, they came to know how their freedoms or their rights were violated by the Soviet leadership. So they thought that these kind of reforms would no longer serve their purpose. Okay, they thought that what the change that they desired would not be possible by these reforms. So they rejected these reforms. So they thought that these reforms were too slow to bring about the desired results. And the leaders of the Communist Party, okay, of the Communist Party of Soviet Union, the leaders within the party also thought that Mikhail Gorbachev was going too fast. Okay, that such a fast system, such a fast change, they won't be able to handle the masses. They thought that Gorbachev was giving too much of liberty to the people, that it would become very much impossible for them to manage the national affairs. Okay, so they also did not give support to Gorbachev. As a result, Gorbachev's reform policies failed. Okay, and these ultimately led to a coup. Coup means a nationalist struggle which took place in the year 1991. Coup means a nationalist struggle. So it is said that during the period after the failure of his reforms, Mikhail Gorbachev was suffering from certain physical illness, and for this he was absent from the public affairs for quite some time. And during his absence, some of the military leaders of Soviet Union, they tried to take up power, like the military leaders of the defense forces, the army, navy or air force. They tried to overpower Gorbachev. Okay, but at that time there was the rise of another leader in Soviet Union. So his name was Boris Yeltsin. Okay, Boris Yeltsin, he was from Russia. So he has emerged as a national hero. So he had led that movement against the coup. Okay, and ultimately that coup was defeated. Okay, but this new change that Soviet Union was seeing in the form of Boris Yeltsin, the new change was that Boris Yeltsin, along with the other republics, okay, remember Soviet Union was not one nation, but it was a union of several nations. So these republics, now they decided that they no longer want to stay within Soviet Union. They want a shift of power from the Central Soviet to the republics. That means they wanted their own powers. Okay, and three of the major republics, among them they were Estonia, Lithuania and Latvia. So these three nations, they are known as the Baltic states. So they were the first to rise in revolt against the dominations. Okay, also you will find that riots had taken place in Georgia, Armenia, Moldova. Okay, so in all these states, Soviet Union, or they rejected the concept of Soviet Union. So these three, they are known as the Baltic states. Okay, now next, also the Communist Party. So we know that Communist Party was the only political party that was allowed in Soviet Union, and all other political parties were banned. And all these republics that were in Soviet Union, every one of them had their own party. But since they were now a part of Soviet Union, they had to ban all their national political parties. But now what was happening, these republics, they were coming up with their own political parties. Okay, so in the elections held in Poland in 1989, the Communist Party had a massive defeat. So it was defeated in Poland. Also same year in Hungary, the Communist Party lost the election. So that was happening for the first time in Soviet Union, that the Communist Party was losing in the elections. The same case was with Lithuania. Okay, so as a result, you will find that now gradually Soviet Union, it was loosening its tentacles. Okay, so they ultimately led to the disbanding of the Soviet Union. So ultimately Soviet Union disbanded or we call it disintegrated on 25th December 1991. So it is a very important date for you. 25th December 1991, Soviet Union disbanded. Okay, and out of that Soviet Union, 15 new republics were formed. Like Armenia was there, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia. Okay, so all these were the different republics that were formed out of Soviet Union. Okay, and out of these 15 new republics, 12 of these republics, they agreed to form a organization named CIS, or we call it the Commonwealth of Independent States. So this was not a, I don't think this was another country or something like that. It was only an organization. So they wanted a common platform, so they formed this Commonwealth of Independent States. Okay, but the Baltic states, okay, you remember the Baltic states, Lithuania, Estonia and Latvia, they did not join this CIS. Okay, they remained outside this CIS, and these states also, interestingly, once these post-communist, we call them the post-communist countries or the erstwhile countries. So these Baltic states, they went and they joined NATO. Okay, so NATO, that was formed in 1949 during the Cold War, and against the NATO, Warsaw Pact was formed by Soviet Union. But now, since Soviet Union was disbanded or disintegrated, the Warsaw Pact also came to an end. Okay, but NATO still continued, and these Baltic states, they went and they joined NATO. Okay, and some other consequences was like Russia became the successor of USSR. So this question comes, that which state became the successor state of USSR? So the answer is Russia. So Russia accepted all international obligations. That means whatever treaty agreement, you remember, it had India had signed a 20 years treaty with USSR. So like that, many treaties were there with other nations. So now Russia, they agreed that they will continue or take over all the responsibilities of USSR in those agreements and treaties. Okay, and for this, what Russia got in turn was that they inherited USSR seat in the United Nations Security Council, and also whatever nuclear missiles arsenals USSR possessed, it was all taken over by Russia. Okay, so Russia became the successor of USSR. And Boris Yeltsin, in 1992, he became the president of Russia. So he remained in power till 1999. 1996, he was re-elected as the president of Russia, but due to his health issues, he resigned in 1999. And Vladimir Putin, okay, so the present president of Russia, so Vladimir Putin, he was elected after Boris Yeltsin. Okay, so like this we see that how Soviet Union came to an end. So there are many reasons for the end of Soviet Union, but it is said that one of the major roles was played by Mikhail Gorbachev. Although Mikhail Gorbachev also never thought that his actions would bring about a fall to Soviet Union. Okay, all he wanted was that the people were satisfied. All he wanted was that whatever demerits or drawbacks or weaknesses that the system was suffering, he could remove them. But unfortunately, plans did not work, and ultimately, because of his reforms, you can say, and it was accompanied by definitely by other reasons, which we will discuss in the next class, it ultimately led to the fall of Soviet Union. Okay, so that was all for this part. Thank you.